call will be to us. Those who care to, please rise for an opening prayer. Salute to the flag. Dr. Ward. Will you open us in a word of prayer for the last time, sir, for you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Father, we bow in your presence again, and we come with continual thanks for all that you do for us as a community, for your blessings. I always am thankful for the men and women that serve this city, and also for the men and women who serve on the council. Continually pray for wisdom to know what are good decisions for the city and the courage to stand behind those. But in all things, we look to you for our strength and help. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get too far into tonight's meeting, we'd like to advise council that tonight, if you would, microphones have been placed a little closer for you tonight. Please be aware of those as you're moving, shuffling papers around. Betty, you're sitting up front. I was hoping you'd be in the back. No offense, but no, I'm just kidding. But if somebody can't hear out there, please wave your hand. Chief gave me the okay sign, but that doesn't mean much. Police officers probably should have good hearing and eyesight. However, council members, I would like to ask if you would speak into the microphones tonight to make sure everybody in the back can hear. So, with that, further on to mayor's announcements. Mr. Grooms.
Sir.
Your birthday is Friday.
Yes, sir.
Friday the 13th.
All great men were
I'm not getting close. When you pass that down, anybody has a birthday on Friday the 13th. Happy birthday, Mr. Grooms. There's a black cat in there just for you.
It's normally on Good Friday.
Good Friday. You were born on Good Friday and your birthday was on Friday the 13th. Very nice. Also, Sherry O'Dell's birthday is April 17th. Also, she's our utility billing supervisor. She will be retiring April 27th. She will have completed her 22nd year of employment with the City Republic at time of retirement. And a reception in her honor will be held 1 to 4 on April 27th at City Hall. If you guys can make that, certainly appreciate that. Also, Dr. Ward was appointed to Ward 3 on July 11, 2005 under Mayor Jim Collins. Dr. Ward was elected to Ward 3 in 2006, 2008, and 2010, and beyond Mr. Wilson and Ms. Poole, he's our longest standing member. So, and this is his last meeting.
Yay.
For you, yay.
He'll come back.
No, I have thoroughly enjoyed my service.
Well, we appreciate that. We appreciate your input. And I'm going to give you the floor here in about, well, as soon as we're done with all the old business. Say whatever you want. I just did. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ward. On to citizen participation. Anyone wishing to speak to anything not on the agenda, please step forward, state your name, sign in, give us your best 3 minutes. I do have cards for the ones that want to speak on items that are on the agenda, but anything not on the agenda, please step forward, state your name, sign in. And for any of you that would like to speak later, that's going to speak later, we have a microphone there. Please pick that microphone up and speak into it well. We had it on a stand last meeting, and it didn't work out quite so well, so please hold that microphone up to your mouth and speak into it where everybody can hear, and we'll pick it up on the recording as well. So anyone wishing to speak to anything not on the agenda, please step forward, state your name, sign in, and give us your best 3 minutes. Seeing none, the participation closed. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Welcome, Laura. Please give us an overview on the financial report.
Sure. Okay, see if this works. You have to be smarter than the microphone.
Alan, ask Jared. He's in charge.
Okay? Good? Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. Well, with this statement of revenue and expense that you have in front of you, that recaps a quarter of the year that we have gone through. And with that, I just wanted to give you an overview that the revenues for the first 3 months of the year amount to $4.3 million for all the funds, and the expenditures amount to $3.3 million, leaving us to the good of $1.1 million for the first quarter. The revenues that we have received represent 29% of the budget that was passed, while the expenditures account for 21% of the budget. And we will talk about it at the next meeting, but we got the sales tax, and we are still looking good for sales tax for the year to date. And so,
Questions, comments, discussions for Laura on the financial report? Seeing none, motion to approve financial report? Motion. Second. Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Mr. Krishna, do you have anything, sir?
Nothing tonight.
And Mr. Derrickson?
No, sir.
Thank you. Jared, I'm impressed. That list gets smaller and smaller every time. We were 13, I think, last meeting. I think by the end of the year, we'll be a 0. You won't have anything go on.
That's not the goal, I promise. Future community events, April 10th, 17th, and 24th, Arthritis Foundation Exercise Program, 1:30 p.m. This is a free event. April 12th through May 17th is toddler tumbling session 3. We got classes at 5:30 and 6:45, and pre-registration is required. April 12th, 19th, and 26th, Arthritis Foundation Exercise Program at 10 a.m., once again free. April 13th, 20th, and 27th, toddler story time, 10:30 a.m., that's here on Fridays, and it's a free event, and no registration is required. April 14th and 15th, down at the Rodeo Arena here in Miller Park, is the National Qualifying Stock Dog Trials. April 16th, 23rd, and 30th, Toddler Open Gym, that's 10 a.m. next door in the Activities Building, it's $1 per toddler. April 20th, Republic Police Department is to conduct a sobriety checkpoint. April 21st, Parents Night Out, 5 p.m., pre-registration is required. April 26th, Senior Citizen Movie Day right here in the community rooms, 2 p.m. I believe that movie is going to be War Horse. Current movie right there.
I'm impressed. Did you pick that up?
No.
Okay.
April 27th, Sampler Series Dance Class. Once again, we did this once already, tremendously popular. We're going to bring it back from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. on April 27th. April 28th, DEA National Take Back Event. That's at 10 a.m. They last till 2 p.m., and that'll be held at Walgreens Pharmacy. The Republic Police Department will be on hand, and they partner with Community 2000. And May 5th, the 9th annual May Day 5K and 1 mile fun run. We're expecting about 400 runners this year. So.
Wow, that's impressive. Thank you. Board Commissions and Committee Reports, Board of Adjustments, May 3rd, Capital Improvements, April 18th, City Council meetings, April 23rd and May 14th, Planning and Zoning Commissions, April 16th. On to old business, need a motion to have the second reading of Bill number 12-31.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, amending Section 365.050 of the Traffic Code to enable the police chief and traffic engineer to establish time-limited public parking spaces.
Need a motion for final approval, Bill number 12-31.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Brock is not here.
No, Mr. Brock is off, and I just saw Mark gather his information. He was trying to figure out why I was motioning. So hopefully you would fill in.
Sign language.
Very briefly, I can tell you that
Hold on, Chief. Get bigger the microphone. Let me work with you here. Go ahead.
Okay, I just don't want to be overly loud.
Don't worry, you won't be.
Very briefly, I can tell you that what we're trying to do is amend the traffic code, and after the traffic engineer, who also happens to be the public works director, and I have reviewed the parking situation, we want to be permitted to install parking signs that would probably be for maximum of 30-minute parking or whatever the situation dictates at that point along Main Street or other city streets, but this one in particular is for, and there's an example on the front of the exhibit, on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. where we'd have 30-minute parking, and that's what we're hoping the council will approve.
Thank you, sir. Questions, comments, discussions for Chief Lowe? Anything at all? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilmember Harrelson?
Aye.
Councilmember Poole?
Aye.
Councilmember Ward?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Councilmember Brashears?
Aye.
Councilmember Grooms?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson?
Aye.
Councilmember Clinkinger?
Aye. Motion carries 8-0. Thank you, sir.
If I can add one more thing on the April 20th DUI checkpoint, obviously all members of the council are invited to come out and observe that. The mayor and Mr. Kriske have come out and seen how we do it, and I think you'll be favorably impressed.
Oh, it's a good time, trust me. It's a good time. It's late at night, but it's a good time. On to next item on old business. Need a motion to have the second reading of bill number 12-32.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to execute a road relinquishment agreement with the Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission to convey a portion of Old State Route MM.
Need a motion to have final approval of bill number 12-32.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Brock is not here. Mr. Kriske?
Okay, this is that one section of the old roadway that was actually bypassed when they built the new Highway and James River Freeway. This particular section of road is really only used for one purpose, and that is to access one of the properties that sits in the back left-hand corner or upper northwest corner of that property. MoDOT does not care to keep that property in their inventory. We've approached them about relinquishing the property. They are in agreement of doing that, so they've sent over their standard contract or agreement to relinquish that property to the city. And then once we get a hold of it, then it would be in our roadway system and we'd be required to maintain it.
Thank you, sir. Questions, comments, discussion? Mr. Kriske? Anything at all? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilmember Clinkinger?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson?
Aye.
Councilmember Grooms?
Aye.
Councilmember Brashears?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Councilmember Ward?
Aye.
Councilmember Poole?
Aye.
Councilmember Harrelson?
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0. On to the next item on the agenda. Need a motion of the second reading of bill number 12-33.
Motion. Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to enter into a development agreement with the developers of the Eclipse Equestrian Event Center regarding development of properties currently under individual land purchase agreements and consideration for PDD zoning.
Need a motion for final approval of bill number 12-33.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Welcome, Ms. Nagel and Mr. Kriske. You're giving the overview, sir.
Okay, I guess we'll tag team again, but last meeting we went over the details. We can do that again if anybody has a particular question, but this developer's agreement will outline all of the specific improvements, mostly infrastructure improvements that will occur along with the development of the Eclipse Equestrian Center. In this agreement will outline all of the requirements on the city's behalf, on the developer's behalf. It'll talk about the roads, the sewer, the water. It does address traffic and transportation issues, as well as the individual private wells that are currently existing on that, on all of those multiple sites in there, and what would happen with each one of those. So the developers have reviewed this already, and they've actually provided us with a signed copy, so if there's any changes, I guess we'd have to send it back their way. But they're in agreement with everything that's in the developer's agreement, and we do feel as though we have everything covered pretty completely, and this will act as our guide as we do the infrastructure work.
Margaret, would you like to add anything, or did he cover it?
He covered it very well. One thing I might mention is item number 11, the enhanced enterprise zone. That is still just really in the preliminary stage. Should the developer determine that they would like to move forward with that, then they will go through an application process with the state of Missouri. They have been in communication with Jefferson City, so that is
Fair enough.
taken care of as well.
Council, questions, comments, discussion? Anything at all? Okay, fair enough. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Harrelson? Aye. Councilmember Poole?
Aye.
Councilmember Ward?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Councilmember Brashear?
Aye.
Councilmember Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson?
Aye.
Councilmember Clinkenberg?
Aye. Motion carries 8-0. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the next item. Need a motion to have the second reading of bill number 12-34. Motion. I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, amending the zoning code and official map by changing the classification of approximately 965 acres located near the interchange of James River Freeway and State Highway MM, and also along South Farm Road 97 and East Sawyer Road, from Agricultural AG to Planned Development District PD 1201, and the approval of the preliminary development plan for the Eclipse Event Center PD 1201.
Need a motion to have final approval of bill number 12-34.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Welcome, Mr. Tyson.
Thank you.
Please give us an overview, sir.
This bill will approve the rezone of nearly 1,000 acres located in near the former Brookline area, all of the property being northwest of the interchange of James River Freeway and State Highway MM. The rezone will be from agricultural to planned development district called the Eclipse Event Center. That'll be designated as PD 12-01. This bill will also approve the preliminary development plan that will be a partner to the rezone and will act as the regulating document for this particular portion of property. The proposed development contains two general categories of land uses. All of the property lying west of South Farm Road 97 will be regulated in a manner consistent with the city's normal agricultural zoning district. All of the property lying east of South Farm Road 97 will be regulated in a manner that's very consistent with our general commercial C2 zoning district. The overall character of this development I would describe as an equestrian sporting resort. That'll be its primary function and use, and it contains a lot of uses that would be incidental to that resort concept, such as lodging units, eating places, restaurants, recreational opportunities, and some retail commercial. It will also, on a semi-regular basis, have special events like concerts, motorsport shows, bull riding, etc. It's planned to contain a maximum of 690 lodging units. Those are not residences. They'll be nightly rental lodging units. Those will be spread out over the approximately 500 acres lying east of Farm Road 97. The most intense commercial uses are all being held in close proximity to the James River Freeway, and then as you move away from James River Freeway, things get less intense. And what I mean by that is less noise, less traffic, less volume of pedestrians. So you move from the major commercial uses, and then as you go south and west into some of the lodging units and lighter commercial uses. The vehicular circulation, which is also covered in the preliminary plan, includes 4 primary access points that feed a private internal road network that's going to be designed to the city's public street standards, but they will remain private. It also includes several parts of public transportation improvements to the James River interchange, the eastbound and westbound on-ramps, and also Sawyer Road and South Farm Road 97. Those will have lane additions. The proposal contains over 600 acres of open space, over 40 acres of surface water as amenities. The location of various elements of development and buildings will be in general conformity to the plan that you have in the preliminary development plan document. The project is planned for a single-stage continuous build, so it won't be done in phases. Other necessary public improvements associated with this development include the upgrading and the relocation of an existing lift station that's located off of Sawyer Road or Farm Road 156. It'll be moved further west to the corner of 97 and Sawyer Road. There will also be public water and sanitary sewer main extensions to serve the portion of the development lying east of Farm Road 97. The few buildings that will be developed lying west of Farm Road 97, too far for it to be worth it to extend public water and sewer, so they'll be serviced by private facilities. The bulk dimension, meaning the setbacks, heights, area restrictions, signage, landscaping, screening, and off-street parking, those will all be planned according to the city's normal regulations, and if they aren't, they all meet or exceed our normal regulations. A couple questions that we've gotten since the last meeting about where this proceeds. If this preliminary development plan is approved, it will proceed towards a final development plan, which will be similar to a preliminary plat in terms of the information that is provided. The zoning, however, will be finished after tonight, one way or the other. This is the zoning element, then we'll move on to design, which will be more of an engineering and infrastructure related item.
Questions, comments, discussion from Mr. Tyson? That's a lot of information. Anything at all? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilmember Klinkenberg?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson?
Aye.
Councilmember Bloom?
Aye.
Councilmember Brashear?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Councilmember Ward?
Aye.
Councilmember Poole?
Aye.
Councilmember Harrelson?
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0. Thank you very much. On to the next item under old business. It's actually a resolution that was tabled from the last meeting, so council, I will need a motion to remove from the table.
Motion to remove Resolution 12-R-11 from the table.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Resolution number 12-R-11, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, to authorize staff to distribute a request for proposal for citywide trash services. Need a motion? Motion. Second. I have a motion and a second. This has been tabled. I do have before, Mr. Creasy, will you give the overview, sir? And then I'm going to get to citizens that would like to speak during this particular time.
This was on last council meeting's agenda, and after that meeting, there were a few items that were very clear that council wanted to either change or remove from the existing request for proposal. So I'll just briefly go through the changes. One, I just want to draw attention to page number 1, where I have the wrong date at the bottom of that page number 1 of when the proposals would be due. I have the old date of May 11, and actually that new date would be June 8th if the dates are agreeable. So to start out with, if this were to pass this evening, it would be distributed by next Monday, and then it would allow for roughly 7 weeks for its return, and we're asking for a submittal date of Friday, June 8th for submittal. The areas that are highlighted are the areas from last time that I felt were the most important topics to look at. It outlined what the RFP would include and what we would be requesting from the different vendors. Included in that would be residential trash pickup and recyclables at the house. There would be a large household item pickup that would be available on an on-call basis, and then they would also have to provide a semi-annual citywide residential pickup day in April and October. It calls for service to be included for the entire city. We gave them an outline, the vendors an outline of how many single-family homes and units there were in the city, what our population was, and gave them all the specifics so they were able to make an accurate bid. The one item, if you turn to page 8, there's one highlighted area about a little more than halfway down the page. It says recycled plastics. It was not discussed at last week's meeting, but it was discussed before this meeting, and why we had that included in there. And at one time, we were talking to a company that actually would dispose of the plastics and turn those into electricity. Of course, they would need an outlet for that particular business, and I don't believe that that's no longer necessary. So that could be removed, and it may serve to complicate the bidding process if this were still in there. So if council sees fit, we can remove that. The rest of it pretty much stays as it was last week. I did remove the senior citizen discount after last week's meeting, and then the only other thing that I changed was the bid form, which starts on page 10, and sorry, it carries over to page 11 a little bit, but that asks for a 5-year price, and I provided 3 individual options, and this can be altered or changed any way council would like. The first column would be just a standalone garbage pickup rate only. The second column was for just an individual recyclable pickup at the curb, and that would be the optional service that a resident can or cannot choose to have. And then the third column was a combined garbage and recycled bid. So it would be broken down into 3 different options. Other than that, everything else pretty much stayed as is. The one other thing that did come up in some of the questions from council between last meeting and this was about the billing. When the focus group had met, we had talked about the city not doing the billing, but after looking at it, reviewing what other cities have done, reviewing the options that the city may or may not have for providing for a franchise fee or not, it was determined it would be in our best interest to do the billing and then ask each of the vendors to provide a rebate, I guess, a percentage of the monthly bill back to the city to cover that expense. It seemed to work very well for Nixa, so we followed the same idea that they had, and that seemed to take away the idea of any sort of a franchise fee or royalty that would come back to the city. It would just be a payment for services that the city would render. We can do the billing without any difficulties. Our current software provider, Summit, has a module that is available to us. There's plenty of room on the water and sewer bill to insert that in, and we can do the monthly billing and collectibles. That's it.
You sure?
Positive.
Okay, fair enough. First to speak, and if you would, step up to the microphone, pick up the microphone, and give us your best 3 minutes. Speaking against the particular item is Paul Ivy. Paul, where are you? Welcome back, Paul.
Hello again. I think you pretty much know most of everything that we talked about last week, so I'm not even going to go over that. The only thing I've got to add is that if you vote for this, you take away my liberty, plain and simple. I can't choose my trash service. That's just the way it is. If you vote yes and it passes, I no longer have that option. If everybody in the city has great trash service and I have bad trash service because for some reason me and the trash guy don't click, I can't do anything about it. And that's all I got to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next to speak is Karen Milam. Hi, Karen.
Hi.
Would you give your address to? Paul's address was 421 Murphy, correct?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Karen, your address, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Karen Milam, 556 East Primrose Lane. Been a citizen of Republic for 16 years. Never been to a city council because I think our city council does a wonderful job. Never been really opposed to anything. But when I picked up the paper and read the article, it concerned me that the city council was going ahead with this without letting the general public really have time to think about it and know what's involved, the pros and the cons. The article was just too short, didn't give enough information to the public. And I really like having liberty to choose my trash service. There is only one electric company, one gas company, all that. And there's just not a lot in life anymore that we can choose. My trash service gives me wonderful, I won't say the name, I guess, but gives me wonderful service. They're there promptly between 8 and 9 on the day they're supposed to. And I'm just very happy with it, and I just don't know if I would be another service. But like I said, I just don't think the public has been given enough information to be public, and maybe it needs to be a public vote instead, because I know other people feel the same way. We do value what little liberties that we do have, and choosing trash seems very simple and maybe unimportant to a lot of people, but it's just one more thing that's taken away from us in this day and age. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And next on the agenda, Nita Martin. How you doing, Nita?
Hi.
State your address for everybody here. When you have, there you go.
Okay, 911 East Elm, Republic, Missouri, and I've been in Republic for several years. I'm against the trash service. I want my own company. My bill is $48 for every 3 months. Can you match that? And so, and I'm having Nixa taken care of. I mean, it's a Nixa's company that's doing this. And still, I would also like to say that do we not have the ability to think of something besides what that Nixa and Ozark is doing? Surely Republic has got some other ideas. And that's it.
Thank you. Next to speak is Joan Morris. Hi, Joan, if you would state your address too, please.
I live at 2009 East Logan Street. For quite a few years, I've been thinking about this, having a citywide trash service, and when we would get the flyers in the mail about opinions on the city and how things are going. When they had an opinion, you could say anything you wanted. That's what I would write in. Could we please have one trash service for the whole city? I think that within 2 blocks of where we live, there are 4 different trash services. So that's 4 different trucks coming down the road 4 different days. All those different days, people having trash bins out. And we're in a very quiet neighborhood, mixed, some older folks and families with young children. And what I notice is, I think when they get new drivers, some of those businesses, they zip past and then, oh no, they screech on the brakes and then have to back up. And they're backing up, and we live where a road tees into us. They don't stop at that stop sign, and they'll pull in and then, oh no, and back out, and they're going back and forth, and I'm worried about the kids that are in the neighborhood. But I think that all of those large trucks on the street it's such a wear and tear on the streets. And if we want to look at how much do we each pay each month for our service, we have to look at the bigger picture of how much are we each going to have to pay to repair roads that are torn down very quickly compared to just the small local traffic for the people who live there. But I would be very much in favor, though, to have the option to have the single stream recycling, because I think that works out very well. It does for us. And I know some companies charge a little extra. My company doesn't charge any extra if I wanted the recycling, and so we do that. So I do understand that people like to have their liberties, but I think that sometimes we do things that help each other out and, not just think of our own rights, but that what we do affects other people. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a couple of things, an overview, council and members of the audience. One thing about the trash service that the vote is tonight is not to whether to do trash service or whether we're going to accept a bid. Tonight is only to authorize Mr. Krischke to go out for bid. And when those bids come back, that's when we actually will vote to look at trash service for the entire city, and only then. So tonight's vote is only to go out for a bid. I know that's kind of a confusing process, but that's how we operate, and many of the council members have asked a lot of questions on this. So let's get to the questions and comments from council members. Mr. Clinkenbeard, go ahead, sir.
Before you do that, one other thing someone mentioned was about the lack of education or not knowing exactly what it was about. When those bids come back, it'll also give us an opportunity to educate people more with exact numbers and things that we have. There will be an educational time at that point. So I wanted to make sure that people knew that we weren't rushing through this and not letting individuals in the city know.
And to the citizens' point, and I agree with them, it is difficult to know whether we're for or against based on, since we don't have any numbers in front of us. If we had a number of what the trash company would say with a bid, we would be able to compare it with our own bid and say this is good, this is bad. However, Mr. Clinkenbeard, your point is correct that we are looking for a bid process, and this is the bid process. So I appreciate your point. Additional questions, comments, discussion? Mr. Beshears.
This question was brought up by a member of the audience, but what about the person that lives in the Republic that does not desire trash service?
The way this is structured, there would be no opt-out at all.
But what if the person does not have trash to pick up?
Well, the only way we address that is if there was I shouldn't say there was no opt-out, because there was a small way to opt out. If you have another place that you can go and bring your service, and you can get some sort of a form, an affidavit, something to say, you're taking it to where you work and you're going to get rid of your service, your company that you work for will sign something to say, Charlie Beshears has, the right to drop this garbage off there. You would be able to do that, but you would not be able to have another trash service come and pick you up. You would have to provide a valid location with authorization to where you could place your trash. So you'd have to provide something to show you were getting rid of it.
Good question. Additional questions, comments? Ms. Poole.
We give our engineering firms 3 years. Why are we giving a crash service 5? 5 seems really long to me.
Fair enough.
I don't know if there's any answer to that other than that.
If you want to make a motion, it's up to you.
Yeah, that seems to be the standard in the industry, and like somebody said, we don't always have to do things like everybody else, but that does appear to be the standard in the industry, and I would imagine the more security you can provide to any vendor for any length of time, the better pricing you will get. That would be my guess, but it can go any be a 1-year agreement, I suppose.
You're going to get a better price on the 5 years. That's why all the other cities are doing that. If you limit the number of years, you restrict their safety to make up if they got a high 6-month period where gas is real high or whatever, they don't have as much time to offset that. If you give them a longer period of time, you're going to get a better rate.
Well, I get tired of hearing Ozark and Nixa, we're a republic, and I don't see that we have to spend our time trying to pattern after Nixa, Ozark, or Springfield. For many years, we used a lot of things at Springfield, and I know that saves us probably some time by changing ordinances and that just to fit what they've done, but I think we need to be more aware of what we're doing. And I really think 5 years is a long time.
Ms. Bill, we're open for suggestions. This is not a closed document, so
I know that.
if you would like to make that motion, it's totally up to you.
Well, before that, could we ask the trash services to give us a 2, 3, and 5 year
That's
bid?
a good idea.
You would still have to put that
Yes,
in.
but that's
You still have to
a
make that motion into the bid. That's correct. And just for your knowledge, Mr. Krischke used Dixon Ozark's document. Not that we're trying to be like them. We use documents from Raymore all the time in our planning. We use documents from other individuals. And vice versa. There are cities out there that use our documents as well. So I just want to make that clarification that Mr. Krischke is, for efficiency's sake and for some of the language sake that, take up Ron's time, we try to use something that's already been in place. Therefore, we can tweak it to make it work for us. There's a lot of things in here that Nixon Ozark doesn't. So just want you to be aware.
understand where I'm coming from.
Yes, ma'am, we do, and
I've had
I'm all
other
with you.
people say to me, we're not Ozark, we're not Nixa, so
Thank
why do
goodness.
we have to,
I agree with you.
We want to reinvent the wheel even.
Yes, exactly. Other questions, comments, discussion? Ms. Harrelson?
This probably is a little early to ask, but I want to put it out there just as a thought. I've had several phone calls of people who share trash service. You have a lot of elderly people, single people that don't have a lot of trash. They share that service with maybe 3 or 4 of their neighbors. And I know you really can't put that into the bid, but just as a thought, we may want to have some way of considering that, because, unless we're saving them a lot of money, a lot of money.
And that may go back to what Mr. Krischke said with Mr. Bashir's point was, if they can, if there's 2 or 3 using, and they're doing it now, they'll be able to do it. They should be able to do it again. They just need some documentation to say this is what we're doing, this is where our trash is going.
I just want to put that out there.
These people are allowed to put their trash in my bin.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
And just so on that particular point, the way this is set out, we included all single-family residential units, duplex, and then triplex units, so any of the 3-unit buildings, but that does not include any apartment houses that are 4 units or more. So those would fall more under the commercial category, and they would be required to get their own trash service. And I know it was thrown around at the focus group meeting about what to do, in particular about duplexes, where you have 2 people side by side and they share one service. And I suppose the language can be expanded on if you have an agreement that you're getting rid of your trash. I suppose we can expand that to include situations like that. I don't know how we would do it exactly, but I suppose we could come up with something.
Talking about for RFP purposes or for?
Yeah, well, say for 2 people living in a duplex, if they're currently sharing their service, would they be able to share one service with, and that's how we'd have to come up with some language.
2 issues. The first issue is the bidders need to know what they're bidding on, which is, are we going to have some estimate of how many type situations like this may occur so they can give us an accurate bid. The second part of that is we can structure our ordinance for this process if council chooses to go with this to make allowances for those type of situations. But so you have the first step is bidders need to be aware that that's a possibility, and then if we decide that that's the route we're going to go when council enacts the enabling ordinances, then that would have to be written into those ordinances.
Nothing on the RFP, correct?
Well,
You're going to need that now?
there would be, I would think it would only be fair to the bidders to know.
And
the situation.
We really don't know how many that would include, and that would definitely drop down the 6134 number. It probably may affect their price. I don't know if it's a huge issue, but I've had 3 or 4 calls.
We could motion the language in to do the duplexes and triplexes, and then he could actually put the real number of them in afterwards, couldn't he? As far as to telling them how many we have. We don't need to know the number tonight, we just need to know that those are available opt-outs, and then when they say, Jim, how many of them do we have, he has a number.
What you're doing tonight is you're going to authorize either up or down a resolution authorizing this RFP to go out. If you've got suggested changes, then a consensus needs to be obtained from council as to what those changes need to be before that RFP goes out, on however many issues you want changed.
Mr. Wilson? And I'll get to you.
This is a question on Boston Lane. There's a gated community. Will this affect them? Or do they have their own trash service since it's a gated community? Or how's that going to work?
It's the same for everybody, gated or non-gated. Some subdivisions get together and get a uniform trash service. For instance, the one across the street has a uniform trash service for all the members. They pay it in their quarterly dues. So it would affect everybody, including them, plus the gated communities and everybody in between.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
You got it.
Ms. Poole, go ahead, and then I'll get back to you.
If, like Kathy said about 2 people sharing, if we had 2 people, 2 different, in a duplex, up to 2 families, of course, one in one section, one in the other, and we bill it on the water bill, and they share their bill, who gets billed?
That's a good question.
Right now, when they do that with the trash company, one of the 2 of them has to get a bill. They're not splitting it for them. They usually pay each other.
Correct.
It's no difference.
I
One
do
of
not
them's going to have to
understand why
take
the city's got his hands in his mouth.
Right now, with the trash companies, one of them takes the responsibility of the bill, and the other one hands them $5 over the fence. It's not going to be any different.
If it's on the water bill and they get a water bill,
Right. So
they don't share a water bill.
So me and you live next door to each other, I'm going to say, tell you what, I'll put it on my bill, and you can not put it on yours, and you give me the $5 over the fence, just like you do now.
It's the same, the billing is just different. Yeah, it's a line item. It's different.
It'll be billed from us instead of billing from the trash company. But right now, if 2 people share, that trash company isn't splitting their bill. They're billing one of the 2 of them. And in fact, if they told them they were sharing, a lot of them might get a little irritated. But they usually do that between themselves.
I'm with you. Mr. Bashir and Mr. Grooms.
Okay, the subdivision, like you mentioned, across the street has a contract with a trash service. You know how many years that contract is?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay, let's say it's 3 years. They still have 2 years left. And we adopt this. Then all of a sudden that community is now under contract more or less with 2 different trash services. How's that treated?
I'm not quite sure. That's a good question.
Well, how we talked about in our group was that when we go into effect next January 1, that other trash company will no longer have a license to operate in Republic, which will supersede their contract. And there'll only be the winning bidder will be the only one that has a license to operate in the city limits.
Mr. Dirksen, is that true? I don't know.
That's the first I've heard of that. I think there are some issues there.
I think there would be too.
Because you're interfering with the contract.
And I think without seeing the individual contracts to know if there's any sort of cancellation clause in there, I would assume, and it's dangerous to assume anything, but I would assume that there's some sort of a cancellation clause. So that's why we set it out to January 1st. Even if there was a 60 or 180-day cancellation clause, it could give ample time to do that. And I suppose if we ran into a situation where that wasn't the case, then we'd have to probably, deal with that individually.
Didn't answer your question. It is a good question to follow up on.
Answer a good question. Huh? Probably because there's not an answer for that question.
Unless, I guess we're going to have to talk to subdivision owners that actually have trash service, like the one across the street, maybe the gated community, as Mr. Wilson was referring to, and dig into that as well. However, that doesn't necessarily affect the RFP. Mr. Grooms, you were next. So,
Jim, you mentioned some language about being able to, in a very limited fashion, opt out. And where exactly is that in the RFP?
I've already looked.
It's not in.
I
couldn't find it.
I don't know what happened to it, but there was language, but somehow, when I put this all together, it did not make it in this, so I already picked that out already, so we'll have to add that back into it, but it would have been, I don't know what you want to call it, fairly simple, but it was going to be straightforward, that as long as you provided some sort of documentation that you had an alternate source to get, to have your
And
trash.
the alternate source doesn't need to be commercial, it can be your next door neighbor. I mean.
Well, and that's where we'd have to.
I don't think that it should take too much more, the language doesn't need to be more difficult, just to share a trash service rather than go and throw it in somebody's dumpster.
Yeah. And that's where some of the notes I had made is that on a single-family residence, I thought the discussion at the focus group was that those people would be required to have trash service unless they had an off-site disposal, a place of business or whatever. And then tonight, with the addition of maybe the duplexes or the triplex units, additional language could be added that allows them the option to share with a immediate neighbor or something along those lines.
We may have a different interpretation on what focus group saw, but I think that there were members of the focus group that did look at the fact that people do share that service and wanted to be able to protect that.
If we do that at the residential level.
You're not going to have it happen anymore if this occurs than it does now.
Mr. Beshears, Mr. Dexter, I think has an answer.
Brenda raised a good point, and I had forgotten this, is that the statute required us to give 2 years' notice. So the trash companies have been on notice for 2 years that this was coming. So that would play a factor in how a contract might be interpreted. If they chose to enter into a contract for a long period of time after receiving notice, that could question the validity of that contract if we go ahead with this.
Does that help, Mr. Beshears?
So, yes.
Okay, thank you. Who is next? Mr. Quakerbeard.
Looks like we probably have a few motions to do. I'll start with an easy one. I'm going to make a motion to change the due date for the hauler, since we've tabled this and moved it down the road to the date that Jim Krischke mentioned of June 8th. Move it up from, I believe it was May 11th to June 8th, 2012 for a due date on the RFP's return.
I have a motion and a second. No discussion needed. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? That particular motion carries. That date has been changed. Okay. Additional comments, questions, discussion? Mr. Quakerbeard, again, sorry.
That's good. Since no one else done for it, I'll make another motion then on the, I think it's on page 8, the paragraph related to the recyclables being able to be brought to the city. It'll complicate those bids. All the recyclables typically go into one cart, so we make a motion to strike that particular paragraph and allow the hauler to take all of the recyclables to one location.
I have a motion to remove the recyclable plastics from the RFP.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Try that again. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Okay, that motion carries as well. Additional comments, questions, discussions?
Do you need a motion to get this language back in here we're discussing?
Yes.
Okay. Then I would like to make a motion that we have language inserted into the RFP spelling out an opt-out option that also lets the bidders know that they are protected and that there's not another residential service being available if they are the winning bid. However, people may share this trash service or choose to use an off-site means of disposal.
I'll second that.
That would round out. There's a lot of information.
A lot of roundabouts.
There's a lot of information that needs to get in there.
Big circle you. Okay, then Mr. Derrickson, I'm going to let you, since you're the one that's going to be writing that one up, I want to make sure that...
Yeah, I've got it,
Okay.
and I'll be consulting with Jim.
I'm sure you will. Best move of the night. All right, I have a motion.
And second.
To add all that information, and a second. All that information. All in favor of, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? That motion carries. Ms. Poole?
I've had 2 or 3 different people ask me if this is totally going to do away with our recycling that we have now. It will, right?
No, ma'am.
It won't.
No, ma'am.
Well, I did not know, so
You're
I
talking
told
about-
them I'd find out, but I...
Correct. And I think if you look at through the RFP, if I'm not mistaken, there's quotes here for garbage, then with recyclables, so there's those different quotes. And it'll be up to council if this passes and goes out, and the information comes back. Then it will be up to council to decide what gets chosen, or what gets presented to city. However, the recycling is going to remain the recycling. And there are...
Still have the same area, the same place, and all of
Yes,
that?
ma'am,
Okay.
that's totally separate and has nothing to do with
That's
this.
a question that I've been asked, and I need to answer, and I wasn't sure.
Yes, ma'am. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Harder.
About the recyclables, would the trash service use our recycling center for the recycling drop-off? They would not? Okay.
Additional questions, Mr. Brinkenbeard.
This motion in the way tonight. There's just a small thing on the recycling cart. It mentions a 32 gallon instead of 65. It's typical that in fact, most people like myself have as much recycling as they do regular if they choose to recycle. It would probably be best to have those recycling carts to be the same size, and I've motioned to change the language to state that they're both 65-gallon carts instead of the recycling being a 32-gallon cart.
I have a motion to make that change. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor of changing the carts from 32 to 65, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay. Additional comments, questions, discussion. Brenda, if we get too fast, just let us know.
Okay.
I'll figure you can type faster than I can write. All right. Additional questions, comments, discussion.
Just one more.
Mr. Wilson?
Does this also include the former village of Brookline?
It would include the former village of Brookline, yes. So it would not include agricultural properties, but it would be single-family, residential, duplex and triplex areas.
That's a good question.
Which will pose a little bit of a unique situation because not everybody in Brookline, in that old city center area, is connected to water and sewer. Some of those have not yet made the connection. So some would be very easy, some would be getting a new bill that would just be trash service only.
Like the former village of Brookline plus the outlying Brookline, Republic area now up towards 44. Includes that also.
If it's single family, yes. It would not include the agricultural portion, though.
If they had a farm, it wouldn't.
Depends on the zoning.
If the zoning's ag, stays as it is.
Even though they're in the city.
Even though they're in the city.
We're getting there.
You're getting there. Mr. Bashirs, go ahead.
It'd be interesting to know how many people in the city, or not the city of Brookline, the Brookline area currently have trash service that would be forced to have trash service if this passes.
That's a good question.
I'm thinking now that when we provide the outline of how many people live in the city, we give them how many miles of roads that we have, how many duplexes and all the rest. I will add a section in there about how many residential units there are in Brookline. And that's a different area altogether in terms of how they pick that up and what have you. So that would, I can add that to that.
Do you need a motion on that, or are you just going to add it?
I think that's just something
I think
that needs
that's
to be
Clarified.
clarified. Yeah, that's clarification.
Fair enough. And just a point of clarification, Mr. Rushiers, if this passes, this is just for the RFP, and then it comes back for a vote? Yes. Okay. Just want to make sure everybody's aware. Okay, additional comments, questions, discussion. Ms. Poole, go ahead. I could see it. I just anticipated. Go ahead.
Well, this is going to be trash service from Monday through Thursday, right?
Yes. That's what it calls out now, Monday through
That's what...
Thursday. Those are the days available for pickup. It could be, any of those days, but those would be the days that would be available for...
No Fridays.
No Fridays.
Well, if all of these trash people that we have picking up now work Monday through Friday, can we really expect one trash service to do it by Thursday and do a good job of it? Sounds to me like that's a lot of work for Monday through Thursday.
It's just their schedules. I don't think any one service is probably in town all 5 days.
No.
I don't think any one service is in town all 5 days.
Yeah, I was told it's about 800 to 1,000 houses per truck. So,
Is that how you figure it out?
that's about how many houses a truck can do in one day, is 800 to 1,000.
Okay.
So if the carrier, put 2 trucks out, they can do 1,600 to 2,000 houses per day. So it'd be fairly easy to do it in 4, or if they had 3 or 4 trucks. I mean, I guess it's up to them how they choose to do it. And if you'd like to add Friday, you're welcome to do that. We just thought if you have it on Friday, some people may leave their cans out over the weekend or if they go out of town.
And Ms. Poole, that may come back in the bid process where they say we need 5 days.
Yeah.
So, just to let you know, it'll be up to them. That's a good question. Mr. Harder?
Call for the question.
Excuse me?
I call for the question.
Okay.
You need a vote on that.
I need a vote on that. I have a call for the question, so I need a vote.
Second.
I have a vote and a motion and a second for call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no.
Questions up?
Questions up. And forgot how we got here.
You're ready to vote.
I know, I'm ready to vote. I'm going back to my notes, Mr. Derrick, so I want to make sure I do it.
I think we drove, if that was the question.
Hold on, thank you very much. Okay. On resolution number 12-R-11, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
Any abstentions? Motion carries. Now, I want to clarify one thing. That is a request for proposal. That does not mean we are going to trash service. That means we are going out for bid. When it comes back, we'll look at it. The council will then have a chance to vote on what comes back, whether they take it or not. So, for anybody who has spoke tonight, the 4 people that spoke tonight, if you would, please watch we will have some information on that as soon as that comes back. It's going to be, a month or 2 or whenever it comes back. It's going to be a while. Please watch for that. And if you'd like to come back and speak, please come back and speak again. So I just want to make sure everybody's aware of what the process is. The process now is that we're going out for proposal, and then we'll come back and then actually go through it, and then actually have an ordinance that shows where we're headed. So I just want to make sure everybody's clear. All right. Whew. It says new business, but actually this is a resolution. Resolution number 12-R-15, a resolution of the City Council of the City Republic, Missouri, declaring the results of the municipal election held on the 3rd day of April 2012. Need a motion? Motion. Second. I know it. Motion and a second. Is this Brenda? Brenda, would you please give us an overview before Steve jumps out of it?
All right. I put in the red folders the certified results of the election, and that is what is also in the resolution there. And this is from the Christian County and the Greene County clerks.
Questions, comments, discussions for Ms. Jackson on the results? Anything at all? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much. That concludes old business. Dr. Ward, you have served this city well, and I appreciate all your input. I really do. Appreciate everything that you've done for this city. And you have done a great job, and we have some things for you. And no, you're not getting a code book unless you want one.
Bring it in for your update.
You would be charged $35 for
And one of the last Republic flags that we have. We don't have very many of these left, but we're outgoing. Dr. Ward, he was here to transition, so unless Jim probably has them hidden in his office.
Brenda found a stash of them, so we've got a few more.
Thank
you very much. I do appreciate working with you men and women and the others before me, and great success in your future.
Thank you, Dr. Ward. And with that, Brenda, where do you want us?
If you'll line up front.
Line up front. Kathy, Gary, Mr. Casagrande, welcome, and Mr. Brashears and myself, since we have election.
I don't think I'll be in it, but I'm going to not take a chance.
Fill your name in the blank. I blank. Do solemnly swear that I possess all the qualifications prescribed for my office by law. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And of the state of Missouri. The provisions of all laws of this state. Affecting cities of this class. And the ordinances of the City of Republic. And that I will faithfully demean myself in office. So help me God. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go back. Go back.
On the ball. Casagrande, would you please take your place in Ward 3? First time, sir.
Huh?
Where did you go?
I sit over there and just stay out of the picture.
Did we lose the city administrator?
I think so.
I'll say something about him being late all the time, but I know you guys know that. I'll wait for him. You're all right with that?
He had to run an errand.
Yeah.
Where? Steve is his name. Oh, that's right. So Steve lives across the street, so he could probably chase him pretty quick.
I think he did.
Steve wasn't waiting around.
No, he wasn't. He was ready to go. He asked me if he could just leave. I said no.
I was trying to make the trash thing take as long as possible, so I couldn't leave.
My wife waved me on the way out. That's who I was waving at, just to let you know. You weren't looking.
There it comes.
I know. Hey.
We just opened the door for him.
I started to get up. I really did. I'm sure it is. Well, now that we're all here, cannot wait to see this tape when it comes across on the video. All right. Now we've all done it. All right. Welcome back. Thank you. First item of business with the new council is the election of Mayor Pro Tem. Right now, currently it's Dan Harder, but we do this every single year. We have an election, and currently Mr. Harder is our Mayor Pro Tem. However, I will take motions to I like to know it. Mr. Wilson first.
Nominate Daniel Harder again.
Okay.
Second that, that's what
I
I
have
was
a
going to do.
motion and a second, and let's see, I can take other motions, correct? Mr. Bashir? Okay. Any others?
Is that a motion to
That's
close?
fine. Okay, I have a motion and a second. That's all I have. For Mr. Harder to remain as Mayor Pro Tem, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? One abstention. If you voted against it, then we have a problem. All right. Next item on the agenda, resolution number 12-R-16, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, awarding bids for the supply of bulk materials for the 2012 fiscal year. Need a motion? Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Brock is not here. Would you like to give this over?
Oh, yeah, this is the most exciting thing that we'll do all year long is to approve the awards for the bulk materials for 2012. You can see by the chart that David has given you all the different bid prices for the different materials that we go out for bid each year. Base rock, everyone's favorite, the dirty base, 5/16 chip, clean rock, sand, asphalt, concrete. The results are in your resolution. For the base rock, the dirty base rock, the limestones, the clean rock, and the riprap, those prices are shown under unit bid price. All of those, the low bidder was Clever Stone. We're familiar with them and have used them in the past. For sand, it's Bailey Quarries at $16 a ton. The one that had an equal bid was on the asphalt mix. It's $60 a ton. If you look in there, you'll see that Blevins and Jernigan both bid the exact same amount, but one of the criteria that we use is how much does it cost us to retrieve and get those materials, and Blevins' plant is actually closer to Jernigan's plant. So even though their prices are the same, it's cheaper and more efficient for us to go and use the Blevins plant versus Jernigan. So that's why we chose to select Blevins, and then K-Concrete had the two concrete proposals we bid. They were the only ones that bid this year. Typically, we get a couple of others, Conco and a few others that bid. For whatever reason this year, we just got the one bid in from K-Concrete, but it is a competitive bid. That's it.
Okay. Questions, comments, discussion for Mr. Krischke?
Is that transportation factor figured in all these, even if there is a lower bid?
Yes. Yeah. Some of them are easier for us to get to, obviously, than others, and the location does play a part in it.
So somebody could have the low bid and still not get it because of transportation costs?
Correct.
Yes, sir, we are. All the time, with fuel going up, all the time. Additional comments, questions, discussion? I'm sure you are. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Any abstentions? That motion carries 8-0. Do you have any? Nothing? Okay. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries, means adjourned.